Yes, I made it look too easy last time. So there is one Democrat running. There is, I think, 5 or 6 Republicans running on the other side. So we don't know what the race looks like in November until after the primary on August 7th. But we know that this is probably the most expensive House district so far in terms of fundraising. And we know that this is going to be one of the top races in the state. We have a political reporting website, like a blog/newspaper, that reports out of Lansing, and they just released their top 15 flippable districts, and they listed our district as number 2. So I think that having a competitive primary is getting people engaged early and riling up their sort of competitive nature, and it's helped us to really build a strong base of volunteers and a base of support. So we're really excited to keep talking about the issues to people who are going to vote in the Democratic primary, and then we're ready to take all our supporters with us to help defeat the Republicans in November.
It's always surprising to me talking to people around the country how late other primaries are. I'm in Illinois where the primary already happened. And in Texas, of course, it happened even earlier than it did for us. So,
and there are some that are even later than us. I mean, it's definitely daunting to consider fundraising all this time and then spending all that money and having to rebuild between August and November. So that's, sort of the downside. I think the goal for our state was to try to make it so that we weren't campaigning year round. If our primary was earlier, our campaigns would start even earlier. But I think the fact of modern politics is that people are campaigning constantly. And so we'll see if that ever changes for us. But, it's hard. It's August. People are gone. It's summertime. Everyone's on vacation. No one's really engaged. So turnout in primary elections is way, 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 way smaller than it is in our general election cycle.
And is the Michigan State House, is this a full-time position, a part-time position? What does that look like in Michigan?
Our State House is considered full-time, so we go year-round and are in the State House 3 days a week, most weeks, and in district the rest of the time.
And so you said you have 2 kids. My kids are fairly similar in age. My oldest is 6.5, and my youngest is about to turn 4. So I'm thinking of my own kids if I were running for office. What do your kids think about your run for office? Do they know what's going on? Are they involved in your campaign?
They, especially the older one, is really sort of understanding and getting it about why I think it's important. They're luckily for me very flexible, but there's several times where they're up too late or they're tired of mama being gone for dinner every single night or, so it's been hard on them and they've certainly had to make some compromises with all of us. But every once in a while they say something that really makes me acknowledge that they're seeing the leadership and the possibilities for women. And I think that sort of counterweights all the hard parts about managing a family and running.
No, I think it's really important. And I think it's so important to have parents of young children, especially mothers of young children, in office. But I acknowledge that it must be very, very difficult.
It's certainly a challenge. But, you're totally right. Like, I looked around and said, mothers wouldn't be putting guns in our schools to achieve a political agenda. And, there's not very many. There's less than the national average of women in our state legislature on both sides. And even fewer of them are women who have kids that are of school age. And these are the people making our education policy, making our workplace policy, deciding about whether or not to talk about affordable childcare as a vital issue or not. And I think that moms need to kind of be at the decision-making table on these really important issues.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to be sure that our listeners know either about you or about Michigan?
Well, I think that we are sort of really excited this year. I'm seeing people engaged in a way that certainly they never have been before. I go to house parties and I'm seeing people who are so excited and want to help me get elected and actually don't even know who their current state representative is. This is so new for them. So I think we're going to have a really exciting year. And, if any listeners are from Michigan, we would love their help, whether it's financial or boots on the ground. And they can find out more at our website, which is votebedi.com, VOTEBEDI.
All right. And we'll put links to your website and your Facebook page on our web as well. Thank you so much for talking to me. It's really exciting to see so many people running for office this year, and I wish you a lot of luck in your campaign.
Thank you so much, and thank you for giving a platform to me and all my other mom candidate friends who from across the country.
Are you la la listening? He just repeated the words that came out of her mouth. Now they're la la listening, like they're just hearing it for the first time now. Are you la la listening? He interrupted her expectation. La 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 listen to him tell her everything that she already knows. Oh, watch her see with that smile like a pro. Are you la 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 looking? Oh, what she needed was her yoga mat to get the la la looking. He says, oh, what's your favorite position? Ooh, 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 ooh. Has that ever worked on tell me, man? Ooh, 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 ooh. She'll be dreaming how she could have responded. Oh, the way home. Oh, watch her see with a smile like a pro. Are you la la listening? Are you la la listening? He just repeated. He just repeated. Are you la 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 looking? Are you la 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 looking? Oh, all she needed. All she needed. Are you la la listening? Are you la la listening? He just repeated. He just repeated. Are you la 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 looking? Are you la 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 looking? Oh, all she needed. All she needed. Oh, watch her see with a smile like a pro.
Thanks for listening to Two Broads Talking Politics. Our theme song is called Are You Listening? Off the album Elephant Shaped Trees by the band Imunari, and we're using it with express permission of the band. Our logo and all original artwork is by Matthew Weflin and is done expressly for Two Broads Talking Politics. We can be found on our website at twobroadstalkingpolitics.com. You can reach us by email at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com, on Twitter at twobroadstalk, on Facebook and Instagram, and you can support us on patreon.com. You can find our podcast on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and anywhere podcasts are found. If you are interested in advertising on Two Broads Talking Politics, please email us at twobroadstalkingpolitics@gmail.com.